Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Dave Dadakian with Eat Drink Rhode Island, and my guest tonight is an old dear friend, Ian Magiros. Here he is from fresh off a wine event this evening. Going to talk to us a bit about wine. Ian, it's nice to see you.
Great to see you as well, Dave.
Again, as things would be. So, Ian, my first question is always, tell everyone out there a little bit about yourself, where you come from, your background, and what you're doing now.
All right. Well, I'm originally from northern New Jersey. Don't hold it against me. And I work for a wine spirits distributor, M.S. Walker, here in the state of Rhode Island. Been studying wine for probably 15, 18 something years now, probably. Passed my certification as a sommelier back in 2009, 2010, something like that. Been studying with the Wine and Spirits Education Trust as well. Passed my advanced level 3 back in 08, 09, something like that, just before certified sommelier. And work with some of the best restaurateurs in the state of Rhode Island, and just have fun showing them cool wines and making it on their wine list, and helping educate their staff, and just keeping this world of hospitality that Rhode Island's known for running to the best of my ability from the outside looking in. Well,
you are certainly one of the best in wine here in the state. I can say that, having a long history of drinking and enjoying wine myself, and studying it as an amateur and loving it as much as I do. I always learn something new when I talk with you. It is, and you've got a great depth and breadth of knowledge in the wine sector. So it's great having you here. Great talking with you. What have you got in your glass there to get us going?
I have in my glass is the end of what I was sipping on and talking about earlier this evening. I was on a little live classroom with the great folks over at Gracie's, and we were talking about the varietal that's near and dear to my heart, Assyrtiko, which comes mainly from the island of Santorini. So I'm drinking the end of some Domaine Cigales Assyrtiko, white wine from the island of Santorini. But there's plenty of other things around me that I will.
Do you have a bottle we can see the label?
I actually just put this back in the fridge, but
okay.
Different vintage of the same bottle. So older vintage, but same wine.
All right, I've had that. That is a great wine. I have that. You shared that with me before. That is a really nice one.
Yeah, I'm calling you from my home office / wine cellar. So.
Right.
I'm surrounded by wine books, wine maps,
and a map of Greece behind you, because Ian, for those who haven't figured it out already in this conversation, they should have already figured it out, is a great Grecophile.
That's Yeah. It was Italy this afternoon because I was studying Italy earlier this week. So I rotate the maps in my office. I have 5 maps hanging, and they rotate 6 maps actually. South Africa's up there, so
cool.
Yeah.
So are they all wine? Yeah, I'm blanking on
wine maps.
Term. Yeah, wine maps. But there's the regions? Depending on the country, the different names of the regions.
Yeah. So all the maps I have hanging in this office are from a company called DeLong, who.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Updates their maps and based on updated with wine laws and stuff like that. So they're one of the most, I found, authentic and most official maps you can get for up-to-date information on new zones, new regions.
Appellation. That was the word I was looking at. I'm sorry. That was the word I was trying to get out. I couldn't get appellation out.
So yeah. Actually, one of my maps technically is out of date as of Friday because Austria has a new DAC that was approved, Wachau. The Wachau is now a DAC, but they will still remain carrying usage of the word Federspiel and Smaragd for the designations of their wines. That will be now DAC instead of just wines of Austria. So that's kind of cool. But now that I have a map that's out of date. So.
That is neat. That is very neat. Yeah, no, that is very cool. So, all right, you've got that. I told you, you showed me earlier you were going to use your what glass is that? The
my Zolto.
Right? Oh, Zolto. That's right. You've got Zoltos. That's right. So I said I was going to use the old jelly jar.
Nice.
And I didn't want this is a I was going to say cheap, but it's not cheap. It's an inexpensive Montepulciano d'Abruzzo. It's kind of my house red because it's $7-8 a bottle when you buy it by the case.
Everyone needs something.
It's nothing wrong with it. It's a good solid red for Tuesday night pasta or pizza or something like that. I like it very much. And but it is when I said to you I was going to use a jelly jar, I thought, I should grab that. I don't really have a house red. I like to get a lot of variety in different things, but it is a great standby.
What I didn't tell you I was going to use is my little hourglass, so if I don't speak more than 10 minutes straight at a time.
Oh, well. So for something new for tonight,
yeah,
something new on the show that I haven't done before, you wanted to do, and I thought, sure, why not? This would be fun. Is invite some of our friends on to talk with us. And I just saw Allie's name pop up here. Oh, she went away.
She probably was testing it. She said
she was probably testing it out. Well, if you want to send her a message and tell her if she wants to join in, that would be great. In the meantime, we could talk a little bit more about Greek wines, because I think that is an area that's not explored enough here, and you have obviously been on the forefront of it here in Rhode Island.
Yeah, what do you want to know?
Well, obviously they've been making wine for centuries.
Antiquity.
Exactly. Not as old as the Armenians, though. The Armenians were making wine first.
No, that's very true. I was literally just giving a history lesson on Santorini earlier, so talking about the Ottomans and the Phoenicians, and then prior to that the Phoenicians, not the Venetians.
Right, the Phoenicians, right.
And stuff like that. So think about Santorini. We're talking about wines, basically speaking Santorini because that's what's in my glass. We're talking about vines that have never been affected by phylloxera. For those who don't know what phylloxera is, it is a little pest bug that grows in the soil that eats at the rootstock of vines and decimates them.
And when was the giant outbreak in continental Europe? What year was that?
Yeah, I don't remember the year off the bat. I don't want to quote a year and then be fact-checked to be wrong.
I understand.
But
about 150-ish?
Yeah. I mean, one thing about phylloxera, it needs a minimum of 15% clay in the soil to actually survive. The other advantage of Santorini, it's on an island, and Santorini is a desert in the middle of the Aegean Sea.
Right.
So, kind of hard for a little bug to get to an island, let alone an island that has at least 3 stories deep of volcanic matter, which it's called soil, and basically what the island is. So, I mean, we're talking back to 3rd century BC when the Byzantines kind of came in. And then
they can actually trace the rootstock back that far?
Oh, yeah. I mean, they have been forests that were sealed and preserved due to the volcanic blast that happened in 726 AD was was the second blast, but the second big blast that actually decimated all of the Aegean basin and ruined a lot of trade and everything. But Akrotiri, which is the southern point of Santorini, was one of the main trade points of that time. And then when the Byzantine Empire had come in and it became very religious, there were many churches that we know of today that were built on the island and everything else, which is why when the Franks came in, they named the island Santorini because it was named after Saint Irene, which was one of the first churches that they seen. Then the Ottomans had come in and spent some time doing what they did. Then the Venetians saved the Greeks from the Ottomans, so the Turks never actually settled in Santorini, but they basically oppressed and covered and controlled the land. The Venetians came in, and at that point, Santorini was decimated by paying taxes to 2 different lords, basically the Ottomans and the Venetians. But one thing that made them true is that they were selling wine in amphoras and trading out of there, which is actually where one of the first fraud protection systems ever came into effect in what is known in the wine world, was by the Greeks. Because what they would do is they would put ropes or strings on top of their amphoras, basically tying them down. So if that seal was broken, you knew someone tampered with it and it made it fraudulent. Today, you see all the Greek wines that are of PDO status actually have a little band that goes over top the cork, unlike the Italians who wrap that same kind of band around the neck. But that's a step of fraud protection that the Greeks have done since antiquity, and kind of brought it to the forefront of today's society.
Cool. Very cool. So while we're waiting for Allie, tell us, how did you get into wine?
Well, I'm come from a family of Greeks and Italians. Wine was around, beverages were around, and I always kind of got intrigued by beverages. I kind of was intrigued by the fact that you could take grapes and do something. This was before I understood, any of what I understand today, and then turn it into this wine. And then, like, this wine is a juice, and this juice has alcohol, which I didn't understand was what was making parents at the party kind of goofy and funny, and funnier than they were when they first walked in the door, kind of thing. And then I grew an appreciation for it. I think growing up, always liking science a little bit had something to do with it. And then as I was a kid that kind of hated chemistry because I was really bad at it until, my aunt, who was actually a teacher, tutored me a little bit, and I actually started understanding chemistry. And once I started understanding chemistry, I started like, oh my God, this is really cool. And I started getting infatuated by different things. I think that's where my initial bug may have stemmed from, of like, if I put this liquid with this liquid, all of a sudden it explodes. Or if I put this liquid with this liquid, it does this other thing, or it turns green, or it does whatever it might do. I think that's kind of where my beginning of interest of cocktail culture, mixed drinks, and alcoholic beverages started beginning. And I will never forget the day that, like, my mom would always yell at me, "What are you doing by the bar? That's for adults. Why are you standing by the bar?" and things like that. And then I remember graduating college and getting my first job in distribution. I said, "Hey, Mom, guess what? I get to sell booze for a living, and I'm getting paid for it." And she was like, "What? What are you talking about?" And like, so it was kind of like a full circle kind of moment there. But
That's excellent.
yeah, I think it has to do with just an understanding of and appreciation for the sciences. And depending on the form you look at it, wine very much can be just really well-made and well-tended agriculture, mixed with really good science and chemistry. And that basically creates what is in your bottle, or, the magic of mixing two ingredients in a cocktail glass and stirring some ice to dilute it a little bit to help the molecules match and pull together. And therefore now you have, maybe it's a Manhattan because you put some bourbon or rye together with some sweet vermouth and a couple dashes of bitters, stirred it up in some ice, and next thing you know, they all marry together and have this beautiful flavor, new ingredient. That kind of was what really intrigued me when it came to the whole spirits and wine world from a young age. So I think it's just that, simply as simple and complex.
That's great. So for those of the folks out there who don't know Allie, why don't you give a quick introduction about who you are and what your background is?
So, let's see. I just moved. I'm a recent transplant to the West Coast. I had lived in Rhode Island for 5 years and was the sommelier at Bin 312 Wine Cellar. Shout out. Miss those guys. I hope they're doing well.
Great spot. Great wine source. Very nice wine. So, Allie, what did you just pour there?
Oh, boy. Okay. So, the first wine that I have to share with you guys is a wine from Slovenia. It is probably my most favorite wine that I've had so far in 2020. It just sparks joy. Seriously. Okay.
Wow.
It is from a winery called Cobal. This is their Baita. It's a petnat made from yellow muscat. So it is fragrant, like it's a spring day. It's got just like so much like floral, like jasmine notes. It's just super pretty and totally dry.
Is it a little frizzante, or you were just spitting?
It is, yeah. It is a little fizzy. Yeah. It's alive in the bottle.
There you go.
So yeah, as a petnat, it re-ferments in that bottle. You can even see, actually,
Sure.
I don't know if you can see, but there's like
sediment down there.
some sediment in here. And yeah, so it re-ferments in the bottle, and they don't disgorge it to take that yeast out. So you've got like a part of the wine still in there.
Very good. What is that? What did you switch to?
A Marcel Dice Riesling from the 2015 vintage. This is a single vineyard that Angels guarded, which means the angels share or selection. Angels guarded.
Alsatian, right?
Oh
Yeah.
man.
Riesling. It's mostly Riesling, but it's also Marcel Dice. So that means he's kind of fuck the man. kind of thing. And he puts what he wants and what he's allowed to put in. Based on the old laws of Alsace, he grows multiple different varietals in his vineyards, in single vineyards or cru sites, and still can label them even though it's not all Riesling. So this is Riesling driven, and there's probably about 13 other varietals in there, but those aren't disclosed. So I'm sure by looking at color and the hue to it there's probably some Pinot Gris, because I can't think of anything else that would give me this oranging kind of color.
Right, from Alsace, yeah.
Yeah. Ian, what is that?
This is a 2015 Engels Garden.
Oh, beautiful. I love the wines of Marcel Dice. I think that, honestly, like, even in my mind, like, he's still one of these, like, producers that I think he has this, like, kind of rebel sort of.
Oh, totally. Totally.
Stigma. Well, I guess in some people's minds, like a stigma. But, yeah, I think his wines are beautiful.
Yeah,
here's that tradition.
He did a beautiful job, and having coming off some high acid with the Sertico earlier from Paris Igalis and another artist, and kind of beautiful wines of Santorini and Greece. I needed something that was staying with a little acid, but I needed a little RS there too, just to balance, so I don't my palate doesn't go completely down, acid, and I lose the enamel on my teeth. So
that's
but all right, now I've got something a little more.
Yes! I love you, Dave. That's
Little Riesling.
Old school wine. I love it.
Yep, old school wine. It's a 2017, which. Did you see it, Allie? It's a
I do.
Zeller Sportskatz from Valkenburg, 2017 Riesling. That's the Mosel.
I'll be on the Riesling train. Cheers you on that. I got to fill up my glass of cheers you there.
Well, I remember. I love Riesling. In all its many forms, because it's so varied. People forget, just how they think, oh, it's sweet or this or that. No, Riesling is astonishingly varied. I love how varied it is. But I also associate it indirectly with Allie, because she introduced me to a wine 2 years ago that wasn't a Riesling, that everyone thought was a Riesling, and it was remind of the name at the first punch down.
Yeah. It was a Torontes.
That's it.
No, it was Scheuerreber.
Yeah.
Oh, my wine. Yeah. Scheuerreber.
Yes.
Everybody.
What was the grape, though?
The grape was
Scheuerreber, that's it. Okay, all right.
Yeah. From Germany, yeah, absolutely.
I love that.
That's what she did for her pairing, but it was the blind tasting thing that was Torontes that, like...
Yeah, the Torontes was the one that threw everyone off.
Exactly, yeah.
Even myself, who I never say I don't like anything, but I don't really like Toronto much.
I mean, I love drinking Mr. Clean mixed with Pledge. And
yeah, Toronto is the flowers.
There are some pretty Toronto.
That was it.
But they don't come to Ireland.
Our friend John, who co-hosts the Punch Down with you, he took that as a challenge when I told him I just do not like Torontos, and said, "Oh, I got one. You have it." No, the Sherba. Yes, that was the.
That sounds right.
That was completely new to me at the time, and I actually own some downstairs.
That's so fabulous! Yes.
Yes. Oh yeah, no, I loved it.
It's such a memorable grape.
But I just remember thinking, it's a Riesling. It's so not unique. I mean, I'm sorry, it's so unique, but the characteristics can kind of touch a lot of different flavors and a lot of different whites. Absolutely. And that's, to me, is like kind of, Riesling. It's not any one thing, but when it's well done, it's just the acid and a little touch of sweetness and all that in one glass is amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And yeah, I love that you mentioned the sweetness, because people get so freaked out by sweetness, and it's, it balances out the wine, and we see it now, a lot of these winemakers are making dry, out of these grapes that, and it's not just Riesling, but Riesling is probably the best example, of a grape that has historically been produced with a little bit of sweetness, because, hey, like, if I was a winemaker in Germany and I had a hell of a time getting my fruit to ripen, I would want to show off, like, hey, look at how ripe this got,
right.
That's value, right? not anymore with climate change.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
You know, I think like, you know, we see a lot of these like Rieslings that are so dry, and you know, there's certainly a place for them.
There's a place. Yeah, I would never. Yeah, I would never say there's not a place for things like that. I mean, but to me also,
they can rip your face off.
Yeah.
Untamed.
Cool.
I love.
Oh, I was about to say, to me, 99% of my wine drinking is for food.
Right.
Yeah. So, you know, having all those different things, you know, in your glass, and you know, the acid and the sweetness and all the rest, you know, the dryness and the, you know, and then, you know, all the billions more things you could describe are key. I mean, you know, especially, you know, with certain types of food, certain, you know, different things work, you know, better or worse, but it's really up to the individual. And I just find, you know, Rieslings to be pretty damn flexible with anything.
I think Riesling is such a chameleon when it comes to food and wine pairing. There's very few other things that I think chameleon. I mean, there are so many different things that Riesling can be, right? You go to Eden Valley in Australia, and it can be bone dry.
Oh yeah,
and taste like Sprite without the carbonation.
Oh, yeah.
Lime soda totally all the way, and then you can go all the way to the Mosel and have, you know, Auslese that's super rich and sweet.
Oh, sure.
And you want to have it with foie and something else, or you can go the other direction and go to Austria and have something, you know, wine that I know is near and dear with Ali, like one of the best. Like, I actually talked to Ali this afternoon. I'm like, what are you going to drink? I'm like, I think I'm going to open this. She goes, that's so cruel. Are you going to drink that Eagleseen without me? Like, how can you do that? I'm like, all right, I won't do that. I'll just drink from Marcel Dice instead. But I wanted to drink Riesling. And, you know, you obviously did too. But, I mean, there's so many different representations of Riesling that I feel like it is one of the worst things that people think Riesling is sweet. Like, Riesling equals sweet. And that is completely not true.
Or that they think
yes,
that
there's many representations that are sweet, have sweet-like aromas. Like, I mean, I kid you not. I mean, there's definitely a little bit of sweetness to this wine that I'm drinking, but there's also like this super honey, like almost like slightly cooked baked honey thing going on in this wine right now, and like apricots, or like almost like apricots and pears that have been like grilled after being like tossed in honey. Like, there's that kind of like richness of pear and apricot fruit that your brain associates with sweet, but on the palate, it's not nearly as
not quite as right. And Ali, I mean, you know, you talk about diversity of Riesling. I mean, Oregon's Rieslings are all over the place in a good way.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, it's really crazy. You know, we have a breadth of winemakers working with Riesling now. You know, some that come to mind are like I think Petra makes one.
The Pietra ones are fantastic.
They're so
I've had a bunch of them, and they're so different and so good.
Mm-hmm.
Someone who I think overlooked is Anna Mee. I mean, Anna known for their Pinot Noir, their Pinot Gris, because I'm one of the few people who are still pushing at Pinot Gris.
Yep, I quite like their Pinot Gris.
Their Pinot Gris is great, and they're moving towards a lot of people in Oregon, I feel, and Ali, please correct me if you feel differently, but I feel like there's a lot of people moving back to the roots of where Chardonnay was one of the first homes in Oregon for white wine, and they're moving back towards that direction because they're realizing that with global warming and everything else, that the Willamette might be better for Chardonnay than it is for Pinot Gris. But I think that Anna Mee makes a beautiful dry representation for what it is. I mean, it's not going to break the bank. It's easy.
No, but it's a nice. Yeah.
It's like, you know what? I could have that with a takeout sandwich of sausage from Chez Pascal, but I could also have it with beautiful food from North. You know, I could have it with something from Oberlin or Birch. I could have it from wherever. You know, I'm thinking about just things whose food are very Riesling-centric food places. You know,
varied again. You're talking about dishes that are, you know, food that is often very eclectic in its own style.
Yeah.
So that's why it works.
Absolutely.
Go answer your favorite word, please.
All right, John, why don't you savor for a little time here? You think about it, Alex.
It's a tough question, but I do know the answer to this. My favorite word is pamplemousse.
Ooh, pamplemousse. I like that.
Grapefruit, like a French
grapefruit.
Yeah,
And
French grapefruit. That is a great word.
I always said that if I was an international gun runner, my name would be Les Pamplemousses, because nobody messes with that, right? That's just scary.
I am with you, John. I am
Right?
100% with
Scary.
you on that.
You're like,
That is a
wait,
solid international gun runner name.
that's a name. Les
Yeah.
Pamplemousses.
Les Pamplemousses.
Les Pamplemousses. You're like the grapefruit? Yeah, you don't want to mess
Yeah,
with
the
the
grapefruit. Don't fuck with the grapefruit.
Don't fuck with the grapefruit.
I'm with that.
Did that generate some creative juices
Oh,
there?
and I did come up with something that, I mean, as I was sipping my Compass box, no, I do love this word that it's the name of one of their other whiskeys that I really loved. It's called Phenomenology. But honestly, like the whole like spirit behind like of what the meaning of this word is really interesting. And it's like, you know, how we as individuals, like we all experience the same thing, like the same phenomenon, but differently. Right. So like, you know, if we were tasting a wine, like someone might get like a certain descriptor. Like I'd be like, oh, this definitely is peachy. But everyone else could be like, it's not peachy, but it is to me. Right. And
Right.
I do really like that word. I'm glad that I had like 20 seconds to chill and like be
No,
like,
that's great. No, I like that a lot. That's
Can you
really-
repeat the word?
phenomenology.
Phenomenology.
Yeah.
I like that.
I like that. Can I get
That's
back?
how we all
All
experience.
right. All right, Ian, you're up. Your favorite word. We got phenomenology from Allie and pamplemousse from John, which is brilliant.
Grapefruit and what was the other word?
Phenomenology. Well, what's your favorite word, Ian?
My favorite word? That's a good question. I kind of really just like the word. I don't want to be an asshole, but I like the word fuck because it has so many different uses.
That's a different
It's a solid choice. I think that might have been Eric's too.
You can use it in a positive way. You can use it in a negative way. You can use it as like in a derogatory way. I mean,
Yeah, no, very.
I'm
very
not saying
true.
I condone the word, but I feel like it's just such a great word because it can be so versatile.
Well, keep that in mind.
And depending on my mood, I can use it however I want to. That's why I love it. I guess.
Keep that in mind because there's more coming up. But let's get to
Good.
the next question. Allie, you ready now? What is your least favorite word?
Nice. Done.
There you go.
What'd you say?
Mostly by flap. I freaking hate the word flap. Like things that sound like the sound that they make.
I get that. I get that. I get flap. I get that. Yeah. John, your least favorite word?
It's not a word necessarily, but it's a phrase. It's you know.
Okay. I can see that.
Every time people's like, so like
Yeah,
when I was doing this, and it's like, no, I don't freaking
yeah.
know.
Right.
I don't know.
I get that.
I don't know.
All
If I knew, you and I wouldn't need to talk.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. I don't know, but mine's a word either. But someone's speaking that uses more than the words that they're speaking. When the word becomes used more than the words that are spoken, it drives me fucking insane. And I seriously want to start drinking him. And I'm like, wait a minute, I wouldn't make it through the rest of their speech because I'd be wasted. The use of the word in that scenario, I'm done. Check me out. I'm out.
Okay.
That was me in the
You
first
just said it.
punch down. You can rely.
All right, we're gonna.
I think
Allie,
David has that on video.
It's forever.
Oh no! We gave you such great treatment of the first punch down. We made you choose the wine, not having tasted it at all. Come on. That wasn't such a problem, was it?
All right, Allie, I'm going to go to Ian first, and so you have a chance to think about the answer. All right,
Great.
But the question to all of you is, what turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally? What turns you on, Ian?
A light switch?
What?
A light switch?
Creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
I was trying to buy myself a moment to think. Let's see. What turns me on? creative energy from others that are like inspiring to me, like something that someone else is doing or their input that forces me out of my comfort zone in a way to think in a way that then actually allows me to tap into a creative sense beyond what I expected to be creative myself, if that makes sense at all. You know, like just being pushed out of my comfort zone by someone else's one-off comment. I don't know if that's really answering the question, but it's the best way I know how to answer it.
That's good. I mean, there's no right or wrong answer here. These are all just.
Oh, I know it's not. It's like some other, philosophy kind of thing. But like, honestly, I don't know how to really answer it, so that's the best way I can answer.
Okay. No, it does. Yeah, that makes sense. John?
Outside of your pocket square.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
It's pretty nice. So for me, I find the things that turn me on are ideas that I have that are not complete, but when I bounce them off other people, they become complete. And when I surround myself with people that are just as creative as I am, and I find that if I look back in the past and rest upon to be extremely things that I didn't think would work because of, like, this would never work. This is a crazy idea. And when you go head deep and you start doing it and you realize that passion really comes from within yourself, and you're like, there's really nothing that I can't do, in the sense of if I just put my mind to it. And as maybe egotistical as it sounds, I find what drives me is the things that I didn't think I could do, but I ended up doing anyway. And I think in the business that I'm in, especially working at the level that I work every single day, there's a lot of things that get put in front of me that go, here's an abstract idea. Here's something that's just crazy. Do you think you could do that? And it's like, I'm not sure if I can do that, but we're going to try. And, what brought me to Rhode Island in the first place was the idea that the Ocean House wanted to be 5 stars, that it's never been done before. And I was like, this is no way this is going to work, but let's try it anyway. And it's that internal, like, I don't think it can be done. And me telling me that I don't think I can do it, that makes me drive faster to do it.
Fantastic. I like that. All right, Allie, you're up.
I don't know. I do have an answer. Okay. I think honestly the change and the discomfort that goes along with change, and this is a very like large umbrella of things that I think it's like sadness and discomfort and honestly the whole like onslaught of very nice, Ian, problem solving. I think like really helps me like grow, and it helps me generate ideas, to answer your question, like all 3 of those things, right? Like creatively, I think that like I'm energized by a lot of things, but it takes a lot to energize me like spiritually and emotionally too, and I think that, when I am like, especially like, like sadness, like in times of deep sadness, like I am like moved to reevaluate like the systems and the belief systems that I have for myself, and I mean like this time it's kind of probably sounds like pretty cliche that I'm saying this, but I think that, like I have like, through this whole pandemic, like I've just been like seeing opportunities like left and right, like with all of this like destruction of the systems that we have, like it's just like there's so much potential and so many opportunities. And I think like, I hate that like, something has to die or fall apart for me to feel like energized on all 3 of those things that you said, David. But like, I don't know. I definitely think that is it for me,
That's a fair point. I feel the same way.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
hear you 100% on that.
Yeah, no. All right, Ian. The flip side of that is what turns you off.
I would say confrontation or challenge without a sound case to back it. You know, in the sense of someone who, yeah, I don't think you could do that. Okay, why? You just can't do that. You got any facts to back up why I can't do that? You gonna shoot me down before I start to fly? Why? Just because you don't want me to do it? Because it's gonna threaten you because of whatever? Don't clip my wings. Don't challenge me before I can. Let me enough rope to hang myself. Basically, you know, like don't tie the noose before it's ready to be tied. That shit turns me off and pisses me off a lot. And there's a lot of naysayers out there in our industry. There's a lot of naysayers in our business that try to stop people's and their passions and their drive. It's like, if this person wants to take a jump and a leap, let them enough rope to hang themselves, because they will hang themselves if they're not going to be good enough, and they'll learn from it. So let us learn from our own mistakes. Don't be the one to stop us. I appreciate safety nets and all the other things and preferential guidance, but those come with backed up information of why I shouldn't do something. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So for me, that's that. I don't know if that's a straight answer, but again,
No.
I had a Bob Ross that one for a little bit.
No, I think like what I was gonna say originally is very similar to what you said, for sure.
That's a good answer. John?
I mean, very similar to Ian. I would say negativity in all its forms. I think to piggyback both what Ali just said and what Ian just said is, we're coming through some dark times, and there's no wrong answer in life, and it's really what you make it. And I think we could all have sat at home and put our heads in our laps and cried and been miserable. For me, it's just, I just can't deal with negative people. The people that find a problem in every solution, that drives me crazy. It's like, no, like, listen, the solution that we present may not fix everything, but this solution fixes 90% of the problems, and we'll handle the other 10% when we get there. And I refuse to let anybody hold me back. I think that everybody has some dark times in their life. Everybody has been through some trials and tribulations, but it's the people that let those situations define them.
Yeah.
There's the thing like, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. For me, I always say what doesn't kill you defines you. If you're not dead, then it's what makes you who you are. Yeah. And if you can't live with that, then that's something that you can't push on somebody else. That's your problem. For me, I always say I'm going that way. And if you're not coming with me, then go on back, because I don't look backwards. There's no rear view mirror. It's just you go and you're on the road. And anybody that has like negative attitudes, negative intentions that, are only for themselves, it's like, that's not, especially in the world that we live in now. Maybe 3 months ago was different, but now it's like, yeah, we're in this together. It's all bad. And the people that are going to survive this are the people that have that, what my father says, it's PMA, positive mental attitude. That's the only thing that's going to get you through it.
Yeah.
You got to put a smile on. You got to wake up in the morning and open your eyes, self-assess, and go, what's going to get me through the today? What's going to make me close my eyes tonight and go, today was a win?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be big, it could be small. But
right, exactly. It could be small, yeah.
What's the win? It's like, I had a great day. This right here is making it better. This was awesome,
Yeah.
If I can accent one point to what John's saying is...
No, you already answered the question.
Okay, I was going to accent off what he said. I said, if I may...
Why are you going to be negative, dude?
No, I'm done.
I'm teasing you. Go ahead.
All right. My accent point was just going to be... It's more of also sometimes you have these people, whoever they may be, like, well, you're being negative. I'm like, no, I'm just playing devil's advocate here, or I'm just trying to show the real side of another scenario from the same thing we're looking at, and you get portrayed perceived as the negative person.
Right. Yeah.
But you're just being either A, too honest, B, not towing enough of corporate company line, or C, just not in line with what they want to hear, and they throw one thing out there to be negative, and you're like, I'm not being negative here. I'm just, have you looked at it from this angle? And then all of a sudden you become the bad guy. That, in turn with what I said before, are the complete circle of the answer to my question.
Yeah.
These are
All right,
supposed to
Allie.
be one-word answers. I apologize for myself, David.
No.
No, don't.
No.
I'm like,
I apologize for John, not myself.
David Lipton Dakian.
Allie, what turns you off?
oh boy. Okay. This is like deeply personal, and Craig just said, oh boy. Anyway.
Hi, Greggy.
But no, really, it is heartfelt, and I think it's something that I've like learned about myself through this period, because me like 3 months ago, I would have been like red tape and nepotism, and I would have had really strong things about like things
Joe
that
Biden.
like are out of your control. I think like no, but I really mean this. Like the thing that turns me off, it is like the mismanagement of my own personal stress and anxiety, and it's overcoming, like it's overcoming that, but like it is overwhelming to me when it happens, and it's paralyzing. Like but it's all internal, right? But
Yeah, I hear that.
Like my feet are in cement, like, and it's all in here.
No, that's obviously it's very valid to you personally, but it's a very valid thing that people do. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of
people will definitely get stuck inside their own houses. They can't see outside their own windows.
Right. No, definitely. But I mean, like I'm someone that had anxiety for.
I was listening. So I was listening to Fresh Air the other day. Terry Gross. She was interviewing Tim Gunn. Now, I don't really follow the fashion world by any means. I don't really know Tim Gunn that well. Obviously, I've been listening to Terry Gross for years. But he said at some point in this 8 weeks, self-introspection is a bad thing. You can only do so much of it. And I was driving along. I don't remember what I was doing and why I was in the car, but I was in the car. I just was helping my mother-in-law, but so I was listening to it, and just I was like, yeah, I don't really, Tim Gunn, whatever, fashion, I'm not. But what he just said makes perfect sense. Like, it's too much to be introspective for this long.
Right.
I had a conversation with somebody today that says they like to go bow and arrow hunting. And so basically you just sit in a bush for 4 hours. And I said, my answer to that was, I couldn't forget about the hunting part and all of whatever that. I go, I couldn't be with myself for 4 hours. Like that would be way too much.
Right.
The things that would come up, I'd be thinking of things that I did 20 years ago, going, did you let that kid play with the toy? You should have let him play with the toy. Why wouldn't you let him borrow your bike? I mean, it would just be way too much.
I agree.
It would just
it can't be in your head too much.
Oh, it'll be too much.
Yeah.
Too much.
All right, here's a little lighter one here. Ready? Ian, what is your favorite curse word?
You said it.
I feel like this is my favorite word as well.
I know, that's why.
My favorite curse word. My Greek friends will laugh at this. If I translate it, I will be completely vulgar and I feel rude about it. But it's skata mesostogolosu. And my dad is now gonna shoot me if he's still on this for saying that. But skata mesostogolo, it's like you yell at someone, blah, 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 and you throw it at them, and it's like the insult is, you're that piece of shit stuck in your ass. Like, that's what it literally translates to. And it's like, you can't be worse than that. So that's why it's so awesome, right? Because you can just say that to someone like, you're so badass. It's like, how do you respond to that? You just call me.
No, there's no response to that. Yeah,
exactly. So it's the mic drop, right? And maybe that's why I liked it from when I first learned what it was. As a young kid, I definitely got slapped a few times for saying it inappropriately and not in the right context. But I mean, it's like I don't know. I mean, like Other than fuck, I don't know. I mean, fuck is the best word ever. I mean, you can use it in any context and it makes sense.
No, I'm with you. I agree.
You know, so I didn't mean to get inappropriate there, but
No, it's fine.
I couldn't think of anything that was actually really worse enough to be validated by the question at hand. Hence Greek.
John, how about you? Yes, it's Greek. Oh, we know that.
So the word that I say the most and the way that I say it are very different. So I think like most people, it's fuck, but I would say that I say what the fuck, like and I say it in a way that only maybe a few people that are watching or know this person. It's Jason Burkett from Man City Beverage. What the fuck? He just says it in a way. So every time I say it in his voice. But the way that I also really appreciate is it's not a curse word, but it's what my friends at Disney World say, and it's what the term that I like to tell my colleagues and people that I'm training. I call it the 5-star fuck you. So it's, you know, in a 5-star restaurant, you can't tell somebody off because that's not appropriate. And so you find creative ways to tell them how you feel in a very positive, upbeat way. And I have my own ways, but I think our friends at Disney have said it the best. And that's have a magical day.
Yes, have a magical day. I've heard that, and it's wonderful.
Which, you say it like that, it's just like,
yep.
I just
know exactly what you mean.
Like, I
thought
told
you were being
off.
so polite to me when I was leaving the Ocean House last time. Jesus Christ.
Have a magical day, man.
I'm just kidding.
Something beautiful about that.
Ocean House.
It's like, bless your heart.
Yes, exactly.
That I feel is worse because if you're not a Southerner, you have no idea what it means.
No,
It just feels good. There's something from the soul that comes out when you just say, bless your heart.
Bless your heart. Yeah. No, I'm with you, John. That's brilliant.
Bless your heart. The royal.
Dude, it's like, oh.
Give us the curse word.
So royal.
Give us the favorite curse word.
I don't think you get more royal than that if you know the context in which it's actually truly meant.
Yeah.
Then you interact with people from the South, you have no idea what it means.
No idea. You just go and that's why I call it the 5-star FU.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because I'm not trying to be rude. You just need to understand my frustration, and you somewhere in there, there's a middle ground. And I feel good about it. You may not understand it totally, but I can go home.
But you feel good about it too.
We all feel good about this.
Yeah, sure.
I'm curious to see what Allie's answer to this question.
Yes. Allie, what's your answer?
I'm like patiently waiting for it.
I swear, like a sailor, like this is I am the opposite of like who John Feiler is in the wine world. Like I am the total opposite. Like I will seriously, like people will be like, "What wine do you like?" And I'm like, "This one fucking rules." I don't know what happened to me working at Bin 312 for all those years in that dark cave. I just lost it. Like,
but you did one like you're spitting.
Oh, come on! You don't think Urban Grape had any influence? Come on.
Oh, yeah. Totally.
I love DJ, but seriously, come on.
Oof, yeah, there's some repressed shit going on there, which is my favorite swear word. I really like revel in like saying the word. Oh, and this is so inappropriate with the holiday that is tomorrow. I like motherfucker so much.
Yeah.
There's like so many different
There
ways.
is something about that word. You're right.
Motherfucker. Or like, motherfucker. Like,
Yep, just powerful.
It's all the emphasis on the right syllables.
It's all, it's just, No, I'm with you, Allie. I'm with you.
And the exact opposite is the people that say like, mother trucker. It's like, no.
Oh, geez.
Or
No.
mother.
Say the word.
You're going that far. You got to go
mother
for it.
flower.
Just say it.
exactly.
The one that gets me most is mother flower because you're
Mother
like
flower. No one uses mother flower. Who uses mother flower?
Now I will say the good place when they
I've heard
say
it
what
too
the
many
fudge
times.
bullshit.
Who I've heard it from.
Well, the good place is, genius.
Yeah, I do like some bullshit.
Yes. Fork is forever changed.
See, the problem with spooning it leads to forking.
It does lead to forking. Watch out.
All right.
Next question.
Next question. Ian.
Sporks. Sporks are the best utensil ever.
Ian, what sound or noise do you love?
What sound or noise do I love? I don't know that I have one particular sound or noise that I do love, but I will say on a sense of um, it's going to be hard for people to believe, but actually the sound of silence for the person who talks way too much for their own good is actually my own silence for a period of time is actually interesting. It actually I revel in different aspects of it in a way that's like it allows me to listen in ways that I don't, and it's best in solitude for me. Honestly, is like when obviously I'm not speaking to anybody, but like literally just sitting. And then when I have that realization that there's so much silence because I have no one to talk to, and quarantine has added this to my Rolodex of things that I experience. But with that, I enjoy a lot of. Recently, it's like getting up in the morning, having a cup of coffee, and just literally going, sitting in my front deck. I don't need to talk to anybody. I don't need to hear anybody. But there's enough of hearing the city of Providence, hearing the sounds I can hear now that I couldn't hear before of 195 driving by, like the little things that all of the things that you hear in your own silence that you would never hear because there's too much busy going on. Either you talk too much or you have too much going on and your brain's going too fast and you feel like there's something else and just getting to a point where it's quiet all around.
Right.
I think speaks more volumes than people give it respect for. And I'm the first culprit of that because I speak way too much.
John?
So I actually have two. One of them is probably not the most appropriate in the world that we live in these days, but what used to be my favorite sound is the sound of a dining room when there's nobody there. Just right before the doors open. There's a sort of peace to it. Like what's coming, it's going to be there. But right before those doors open, that moment of silence.
Huh.
Not the most appropriate now because there's a lot of quiet dining rooms.
Yeah, that's right. It's okay.
But my second favorite sound, and this sounds extremely geeky, and outside of the word, outside of somebody that you love telling you that they love you too, the next one is just that when you savor a bottle of champagne, and right when it just comes right off, that little clink and a pop, and you just know you hit it right, and everybody around you, there's like silence, but like this, that moment. Every time that somebody videotapes me doing it, there's that same stupid shitty look on my face of like,
that grin, like, yeah. No, I know what you mean. That's great.
Yeah.
Like a baseball player hitting that home run that he knows is out of the park. But I will say, when you said the word saber, I totally thought you were going to say ignition of my lightsaber.
I was about to say lightsaber, but that's okay. Let's not go back down Star Wars path. I got you, John.
That's not a real sound.
Right. All right, Allie,
what's Allie got to say on this topic?
Allie,
what do we got here?
Do you love?
Wait, Fred. He turned the fan. Hold on. Here we go.
Yes.
That is a great sound.
Very nice.
Nailed it. That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Nicely done.
Is that a can of April and
champagne?
Yeah.
Is that a White Claw?
Is that a White Claw? That is a White Claw, isn't it?
White Claw.
Bud Light Seltzer?
If only. No, the White Claw, the tab is smaller. It's not the same sound.
Right. She is right about that.
It definitely wasn't a Guinness, though. I'll tell you that much. It wasn't a Guinness.
It's
a monster.
Local beer.
Local beer.
Level.
Ooh, I like
Pac-Man.
that.
Yeah,
Ready Player One.
Does it have Space Invaders on the label?
Ready Player One.
Pac-Man. Pac-Man.
Oh no, I thought it was Space Invaders for a second. I got excited.
All right, Ian. Let's get back here. What sound or noise do you hate?
Nails on a chalkboard.
Okay, that makes sense. John?
Ian's voice. No. Oh.
I try to keep that
That's
one
it.
short.
That's it. Game over. John nailed it. Couldn't have been.
What can I
couldn't have
drop?
been
I don't
better.
even know. I got a stapler. I'm going to drop the stapler. I'll drop the stapler.
I mean, the only thing I could have said was in my own voice, and I would have won the game, right?
Yeah, but you didn't, and so John did it right.
Exactly. I teed him up.
You did.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's definitely others, but I can leave it there.
All right, let's leave it there. Allie.
Oh, I freaking hate the sound of people chewing gum loudly. I can't handle it. It sends me into this like irrational, like blood curdling rage.
Wow.
That's
All right.
it.
Okay. Ian, what is your favorite ingredient or flavor?
Oof. Favorite or ingredient or flavor? I might have to say oregano.
Okay.
Mexican oregano.
I like oregano because no, but honestly, and I'm not saying because it's Greek oregano or whatever oregano, but no, but oregano in general, like because I feel like it's a beautiful marriage of this like little like zesty, spicy kind of thing. But then you have like this very vegetal herbal thing that kind of happens, and depending on the ripeness or freshness of the ingredient, the way you use it in your spice. If it's a fresh oregano, if it's dried oregano, you get these different components, and I feel like it's kind of like something else I love, which is wine, and you watch it evolve in different ways based on its application of when you choose to use it, based on when it was put into place to be used. You know, so I think for me, maybe that's part of my Greek heritage, leaning towards oregano, and the fact that it's one of the three main ingredients in all Greek cooking. I having grown it and having watched it grow in my garden and used it at ripe, overripe, underripe. Maybe I think it gave me appreciation of sometimes you're spicy and sometimes you're bland and sometimes you're, like life. Sometimes your personality is radiant and sometimes you're like, get the fuck away from me. I don't want to talk to anybody. Thank you. I'm going to go into solitude. And it's like that.
John?
The thing that I use the most is really good spicy Tuscan olive oil.
Nice.
Ooh,
I-
what a good answer.
I literally put that shit on everything. Like,
Yeah, no,
people
I'm with you on that one.
like Old Bay or Adobo or whatever, for me, there is always a really good bottle of olive oil as close to the stove as I can get it without it blowing up. And, I love experimenting with different olive oils. I like putting it on different things. I finish it, One of my favorite things to do is just getting a really beautiful fresh avocado, some olive oil on it, some sea salt, done. And, everything else for me, it doesn't matter. If you're not cooking with good olive oil.
I agree. I agree completely. That's a great one. Thank you. Allie?
Oh, man. This is like such a hard question. I guess I just like really love I don't know how to like encapsulate this flavor. I guess it's an umami flavor, but you get it in like Parmesan or like really good like aged Gouda. It's like this but it's not like a steak umami or like the savoriness you would get from a tomato, which both of them are great. But it's like something that happens in the aging process of cheese.
Right.
It's just like, man, it is so freaking good. That's it.
I know exactly what you mean. I can't define it, but I know exactly what you mean.
Right? Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right. With that aged cheese, like it's like I don't know how to describe it, but I know what you mean.
Gamey and earthy.
Like there's like a crystalline aspect to it.
Absolutely, which is unfair because there's like a texture component there.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's great. All right, Ian, your least favorite ingredient or flavor?
Least favorite ingredient or flavor? TCA. Pork tape.
Okay. I mean, that's valid. I'll give you that. John, what do you say?
I think that's ridiculous.
I mean,
John,
it's
we're
either
not
that or
judging.
Balls Will Stick Me.
This is not. This is a safe. No judge zone here, John.
Mine is raw red onions.
Oh, okay.
It's on
Come on,
everything.
dude. You can't do that.
No.
No, I understand where he's going with that.
Listen, you have to think about
I can
other
get that.
people. No,
You need-
so here's the thing with raw red onions. First of all, total transparency, I'm 40 now. Just doesn't work for me. Second of all, people use that thing too liberally. They use it like Ian uses the word fuck. Like, I'm sorry, it's just too much. It's just like everywhere. Like, I don't know, it needs something. Let's put raw red onions on it. Oh, it's a burger. Let's put a big hunk of red onion on it. Like, no. Because
So what you're trying to say? So what you're trying to say
put it
is,
on something, that's all it tastes like. That's all
so
it
John,
tastes
are
like.
what you trying to say is that raw red onion to you is like sesame seared tuna in the late '90s?
Oh no, yeah. I mean, yeah, that's
You know
not a
what,
bad
though?
analogy.
You know what? I would
Is that
take
a fair
analogy,
analogy?
but you know what? I would take a lifetime of sesame seared tuna over a minute of raw red onion.
I might agree with you on that one, John. I might. Yeah, I think you're right.
Sorry. It's
Yeah.
if go look at your menus, chefs, restaurateurs, servers, sommeliers. Go look at your menu. It's everywhere.
I guess that I only take mild
I know
offense
it's
to it because
inexpensive.
raw
I know
red
that's
onion
pretty.
is an ingredient that actually binds a lot of flavors in Greek cooking. So for me as a Greek, it's like, really? Because
Yeah, but
like
think
without
about it.
raw
It
red
doesn't
onion in
bind
a Greek
it. It
salad,
just
like you
makes
don't have a
everything
Greek
taste
salad.
like that. Tzatziki toss with cucumbers and yogurt, it's delicious. You throw red onion in it, know what it tastes like? It tastes like red onion.
Red onion. Yeah, right.
It doesn't taste like cucumber anymore.
Yeah, no, I
That's 'cause you forgot to soak it in
I gotta
water.
go with John on this one, Ian. Don't argue it.
I'm not
Sorry.
arguing. I'm just trying to defend my own.
No, I like where John's going with this one.
I'm sorry.
Allie, what do you say?
I understand and completely concur with his point. For the record, I don't disagree with what he's saying. I think if you know how to use it, it can be a great
You know how to use it? It's called my garbage can.
Compost. Let's
compost pile. Come on,
Yes,
we're in the
let's compost
21st
that.
century,
Let's-
bro.
Yes,
Compost.
Let's be ecologically sound.
I'm hoping if
Compost is raw
Mount
red
St. Helena blows, it takes all the red onions with it.
Allie, what's your least favorite ingredient or flavor?
Wait, onion and red.
All right, Ian. Give her a second.
Oh God, my least favorite. Wait, is it an ingredient or a flavor? Because
Ingredient, but you know, if you want to make it a little more flexible, flavor's okay. But
I don't know. Oh my God, ingredient. I don't know. I was ready to like with flavor see Ian's TCA and say like mousy, like.
Okay, I give you mouse taint.
that works. I get that.
Like honestly, all I can think of is like when I was first like getting into natural wine and like I don't know if I ever asked Mike DeCruz what mousy wine tastes like, but he was like, it's like licking a mouse. And I'm like, oh, so now
Who
whenever
does that?
so maybe this is an ingredient.
As we say, that's the wrong person to ask, first of all. So
Secondly, you can only detect mouse taint exhaling through your nostrils, not through your mouth, and not through actual nasal representation, which makes that taint extremely more pain.
all right.
No, it's a study fact. I've actually looked into it. You can only detect mouse taint on an exhale through a nasal exhale.
this is going off the rails.
I'm talking about mouse taint. I'm not talking about the mouse's taint.
We're
I'm
talking about mouse
taint,
taint.
the flaw.
Thank you, Ian. That sentence right there is proof enough that my show is going off the rails. Not that it hasn't, because we're almost at the 4-hour mark, but it's still off the rails.
Sorry.
All right, Ian, next question. You ready?
Wait, I've been born ready.
What profession, other than your own, would you like to attempt?
It's a good question. I wasn't prepared for that kind of question. What would I prefer to do? Well, I feel like the best way to answer this is remove from any aspect of the industry or any affiliates to the industry that I work in and with. I would say something guiding, running, or moving a boat around the oceans would be kind of interesting to me. I think it would just, I don't know what it exactly would be, but I feel like whether it was a captain's role, chartering a ship of some sort, or even if it was just working on a ship of commerce, just being out in that open ocean, depending on where you are, where there's no land anywhere in sight, and you're at the mercy of what's around you, probably be extremely humbling and doesn't get enough respect as it should. So I'd love to experience that.
All right. John?
I'd love for Ian to experience that as well. For myself, I'd like to be the international spy.
All right.
Ooh.
John Bond. I'm good with that. Allie, what profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Oh man, I just wish like I could be like, I would have to be like a guy to do this, which totally sucks. But like, I wish that I just like had it all. Like, I wish I was naturally athletic and I could have just been a total dipshit in high school and played football and went on to just make $1 million. And then I'm like 34 years old and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have my nice retirement now. Yeah, so professional football.
NFL player. Allie wants to be an NFL player. Who would have thought that?
Yeah.
Of all the things in my head, I would have thought Allie wants to be. An NFL player is not on that list.
I want to be able to just like run around and then drink, be able to afford the wine that I really want to drink.
And then get brain damage in about 10 years.
Have you not seen James Bond? That man drinks bomb-ass shit all the time.
That's a solid point, John. Solid point.
He does drink bomb-ass shit. He does.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
That's a nice
All right. Next, Ian, what profession would you not like to do?
Sanitation.
All right. John?
Road paver.
Okay. Allie?
Roofer?
Roofer. All right. Okay. We all don't want to do the hard labor in life, that's for sure.
Look at these
I get that. I get that.
I don't mind doing hard labor. I just don't want to do that kind of hard labor.
Yeah. All right. Last question.
I run my ass off around a restaurant. Trust me.
I'm not saying we don't do hard labor. Believe me. I'm saying physical.
The roofer's home before fucking sun's down.
And yeah, you're right. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, but you're on that hot roof all day with like you're like working over the stuff that radiates all the heat at you. And you can
I'm not knocking it.
I mean, I work for Habitat for Humanity. There's a
The road paver is home before I am too. And he's got holidays off. I have to have COVID-19 to get Mother's Day off. Sorry.
That's painful. Yeah. All right, last question, Ian. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
I don't know, to be honest with you.
That's what he would say.
No, I don't know what I want him to say. I mean, congratulations, you survived. I don't know. I mean, you made it through. I don't know. I mean, on some level, I'd love to hear him say, all the Grand Cru Burgundy in the world now costs nothing. You can drink it as you want. But at the same token, I might kind of like want something more humble and more like wholesome from him, and like being like, make your life as you see now. Like, do what you want, and it's okay, and you can do whatever you want. You know, I don't know. I mean, whatever finds you joy, make it happen for yourself. I don't know. It's a really challenging question to answer. For me, I don't know if there's a straight answer for that.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's not, it's what you want to answer.
Yeah.
John?
I'd like him to say, "Not you again."
Again? Okay.
Again.
All right.
Wow.
Little known fact: I had open heart surgery when I was born, so
Oh,
I feel like he sent me back.
all right.
But it could be reincarnation. I feel like we do the best we can.
Yep. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. Allie?
Oh man, as one that was raised Catholic and is departed from that life, I guess I would have to say, something to the effect of like, hey, I'm real, but I'm gonna look the other way to the fact that you're an atheist for so long.
I like that. You do not believe. Guess what?
Believe now.
Yeah. No, that's a good answer, Allie. Thank you. All right, we have crossed the 4-hour mark, Ian. We have had a multitude of beverages. Allie's out of beer. We whiskeys, wines, and now beer.
Can we move to rum before we go? Can we just move to rum? No?
I don't have any rum with me, but if you want to.
I mean, I can move to rum if you want to move to rum.
I'm not going to stop you.
We may have to do a private Zoom call for the rum.
Yeah.
I'm up
But
with that.
I think our audience is diminished to basically
Just the four
Andrea.
of us.
Yeah, the 4 of us and Andrea. Yeah, that's basically it.
Wait, Justin both are left? Did Justin leave us?
I think so. I
Bummer.
haven't
And
scrolled
I guess
back,
that means
like-
Charlotte left too, as well. We're down to 5. So yeah, that's Andrea and us.
yeah,
Hi,
That's
Andrea.
okay. That's okay. We love Andrea, obviously.
Oh my
Of
God.
course we do. I miss living down the road from the locals and just
Yeah, we talked about that the other day. Yeah, but this has been really a blast. Thank you so much.
I honestly
This
could have
was
thought
awesome.
think of a more fun way to have done it with you, David.
No.
And I appreciate your open
Great Saturday
ideas.
night. Brenda sends her love to all of you.
Send her our
I
love.
send my love to her because she's probably hating me right now. Wish her
No,
happy
not at
birthday.
all,
It's after
Ian. Not at all, Ian. It's
But
Saturday
it's
night.
technically after midnight. It's after midnight, so I can wish her happy Mother's Day.
Here's the thing. I'm not trying to like. She's up every single night of the week till 1 a.m. doing this teaching stuff. It's crazy.
It's good because I do the same thing.
But no, the distance learning stuff, that being a teacher, it's insane. The hours she's working. I've never seen anything like it. So
No, it's commendable. It's amazing. It's like awesome.
no, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So 1:09 a.m. is not. No,
Fair enough. I mean, I grew up in a household that my mother was a teacher that became a principal, so I can
right.
empathize with the teacher side of it and the educational side of it. Maybe that's why I'm the nerd I am.
Yeah. No, it's not. No. She just commented. I knew it was going to happen when it was Ian's turn. Oh, we love you, Ian. We do.
I love you all too, but the thing is, Brenda, I did it with friends. It wasn't all solo.
You did. Allie, it is so nice to see you. It is so nice to spend this time with you. I hope you and Greg are having a wonderful time in your splendid isolation of this craziness. I hope you're both healthy and great and just happy out there. It's really, really nice to see you.
Same. Totally. Thank you so much for inviting me to come on. It was such a pleasure to just connect with all of you guys. I miss my life back east for sure. I mean, I'm happy out here, but everything, new perspective with this whole thing. And it's just, it's good to reconnect with everyone. So thank you so much.
No, thank you. Thank you very much. And Feiler, well, it's nice to see you as always, sir. It's always great talking to you.
It's good to see you as well. I want to say thank you for inviting me, and it was great to hang out. And I watch as many of your Facebook Lives as I can, and I really appreciate you doing it. I mean, you're a total advocate for all of us in the restaurant business, and we need voices like yours to help us all succeed. And if we're all together, this will we'll all come through this. And as I said to some of my colleagues, is there's going to be some restaurants that make it through. There's some that don't, but those are the ones that need us the most. And I know that you have all of us in your best interest, or in all of our best interests, I should say. So thank you.
You're welcome. I try. I love everyone in this business. It's been a great community. It's good people. So with that, at geez, Ian, how do we cross 4 hours?
I have no idea.
Alcohol. When you do
it's gonna be
sober,
awesome. I don't know how we're gonna do that one.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I hope all of you have a wonderful.
I will say the reason we crossed 4 hours is because you sort of said it was going to be 3 with me anyway.
Right.
So
we got to
try to invite some friends and ensure 3 and push the envelope. So
Okay.
I'm happy. Honestly, I'm really excited and happy that you allowed me to push the envelope with some friends.
All right, Allie. Bye-bye. Thank you so much, John.
Good night, Allie.
Bye-bye. Ian, good night.
Buenas noches all.
You take care, everyone. It's great to see you.
It was a pleasure. It was awesome. Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.